can go to the Georgia Georgi Georgia Archives in the virtual vault. Let me not slur my words. In the virtual vault, you can look at this for yourself. Go look at all of the evidence that prove without a shadow of a doubt this guy's a murdering rapist. You go look. Don't just take Jonathan Greenblatt's lies. Go look at the evidence. Look at how the Supreme Court said, nope, this dude is guilty. Okay? Look at it for yourself. That's what we're trying to motivate you to look for yourself.
Newt Lee, colored, sworn for the state. On the 26th day of April 1913, I was night watchman at the National Pencil Factory. I had been night watchman there for about 3 weeks. When I began working there, Mr. Frank carried me around and showed me everything that I would have to do. I would have to get there at 6 o'clock on weekdays and
6 o'clock. Remember that time. He would have to get there at 6 o'clock on weekdays.
Not 5 o'clock, not 4 o'clock.
6. All right. 6 o'clock on weekdays and
on Saturday evening, I'd have to come at 5 o'clock.
So, weekdays, 6 o'clock. Saturday evening, 5 o'clock. Keep that in mind. Keep these times in mind. Read. Move the thing.
On Friday, the 25th of April, he told me tomorrow is a holiday, and I want you to come back at 4 o'clock.
So, he told him on Friday that tomorrow, which is Saturday, which he would have to come in at 5, he said, I want you to come in at 4. I got something that I need done. 4 o'clock. Read.
I want to get off a little earlier than I have been getting off. I got to the factory on Saturday. I got to the factory on Saturday about 3 or 4 minutes before 4.
You wonder why you got to stick on time? Because just like that Edomite said in that video, black people are just coming out of lynchings. We're coming out of all types of racial KKK and stuff like that. And we're trying to be good, upstanding citizens. This man was early for his shift. He was 3 to 4 minutes early for his shift at 4 o'clock that Leo Frank told him to be at on Saturday morning when he was supposed to be there at 5. Read.
The front door was not locked. I pushed it open, went on in, and got to the double door there. I was paid off Friday night at 6 o'clock. It was put out that everybody would be paid off then. Every Saturday when I got off, he gives me the keys at 12 o'clock so that if he happened to be gone when I get back there at 5 or 6 o'clock, I could get in. And every Monday morning, I return the keys to him. The front door has always been unlocked on previous Saturday afternoons. After you go inside and come up about middle ways on the steps, there are some double doors there. It was looked on Saturday. It was locked on Saturday when I got there.
So this particular Saturday, all of the doors are normally unlocked. This particular Saturday, the doors are locked. Go ahead.
Have never found it that way before. I took my key and unlocked it. When I went upstairs, I had a sack of bananas, and I stood to the left of the desk like I do every Saturday. I says like I always do, all right, Mr. Frank, and come bustling out of his office. He had never done that before. He always called me when he wanted to tell me anything and said, step here a minute, Newt. This time he came up rubbing his hands and says, Newt, I'm sorry that I had you come so soon. You could have been at home sleeping.
So, Leo Frank says, man, out of character, man, I shouldn't have had you come so early. You could have been at home sleeping. That's that soft tongue that they have.
Right. And remember the doors. This time he's already like, because this is a sworn statement.
Yep.
This is all different today. This is not the standard procedure he's used to. What is his role? He's a night watchman. Hence, another word for that is he's security.
Yep.
That's what. So he's like, nah, wait a minute. This is supposed to be this is locked. This is unlocked. Why? What's going on? So now, remember, he's a black security guard that works the night shift. And in 1913, you were lucky to have a job in the Deep South. 1913, as a black man, we out of slavery maybe 40-something years. That was still civil rights, black water, colored water fountain, all of that. Just keep this in mind in your back head. And we are going to do, we got to do a couple more shows in this because we are going to make sure y'all understand this. Go ahead.
Yep. So he normally calls Newt up there and talks to him. This time, he busts out the door and he's talking to him all up front. A man of security is understanding that these things are not normal. You showed me what normal is. Now you're operating outside of that normality, and now I'm taking note of everything. Go ahead, keep reading.
I tell you what you do. You go out in town and have a good time.
What did he say? He said, I tell you what you do. You go out in town and have a good time. Go ahead.
He had never let me off before that. I could have laid down there in the shipping room and gone to sleep. And I told him that.
So you got to think about black people. Look, man, I'm not trying to F up. If I go into town, I run the risk of maybe drinking a little too much, and I'm on security, so I got to be alert. I run the risk of maybe getting harassed by some white cop and going to jail. Now I can't go to work because I done got harassed. I can go to sleep in the basement if you need me to. No, I don't want you to do that. Read on.
He says, you need to have a good time. You go downtown, stay an hour and a half, and come back your usual time at 6 o'clock.
His 6 o'clock on Saturday wasn't his usual time. It was 5. Got to understand something. We in court. We lawyers now. His usual time wasn't 6. His usual time was 5. Why did you tell him to come in early? Then when he came in early, you say, you know what, go BS for an hour and a half, and you go have yourself a good time. Because you think dumb Negroes ain't really paying attention. Go ahead.
Be sure and be back at 6 o'clock. I then went out the door and stayed until about 4 minutes to 6. When I came back, the doors were unlocked just as I left them. And I went and says, all right, Mr. Frank. And he says, what time is it? And I says, it lacks two. It looks 2 minutes of 6. He says, don't punch yet. There is a few worked today, and I want to change the slip.
So there was the old timey punch card thing. You put your card in, you pull the lever, it punches the time. 2 minutes to 6 is when he's supposed to clock on. Understand something. This is all calculated. Write that down. If you're writing notes, write that down. He wanted to clock in at 6 o'clock. He said, don't punch yet. I got to change some stuff. Some stuff happened. I want to change the slips. Go ahead.
It took him twice as long this time than it did the other times. I saw him fix it. He fumbled putting it in while I held the lever for him, and I think he made some remark about he was not used to putting it in.
So he's putting Newt Lee's time card in. All Newt is doing is holding the lever so he could punch the time. He's holding it in like, oh man, I'm so not used to this. I'm not used to doing stuff like this. Go ahead.
When Mr. Frank put the tape and I punched and I went on downstairs. While I was down there, Mr. Gant came from across the street from the beer saloon and says, Newt, I got a pair of old shoes that I want to get upstairs to have fixed. I says, I ain't allowed to let anybody in here after 6 o'clock. About that time, Mr. Frank come busting out of the door and running into Gant's unexpected, and he jumped back frightened.
So you'll see why later on. Why when Leo Frank saw Mr. Gant, he jumped back and was kind of scared. You'll see why later. But keep your mind on what's going on. This white man worked at the pencil factory. You're not supposed to let anybody in after 6. What is the black man going to do? His job. Hey, I ain't supposed to let nobody in past 6 o'clock. Right at that time, Leo Frank comes out, and let's see what Mr. Gant says.
Gant says, I got a pair of old shoes upstairs. Have you any objection to my getting them? Frank says, I don't think they are up there. I think I saw the boy sweep some up in the trash the other day.
So automatically you got to answer. Automatically. I don't think they up there. I think I saw one of the Negroes, because they called us boy. If those of y'all who are watching, we were called boy. Pejorative term for a black man with a family and kids, to call him a boy. So he said, I think one of the boys swept them up the other day. Go ahead.
Mr. Gant asked him what sort they were, and Mr. Frank said, tans.
So Mr. Gant, and you'll see why this interaction is not your normal white person interaction. He said, he swept them up? What kind of shoes did he sweep up? Oh, there was tan ones. Watch what Gant says.
Gant says, well, I had a pair of black ones too.
That dude said, nah, I had black ones too. I had 2 pairs of shoes. So if they swept up one, all right, cool. But I did have another pair. Go ahead.
Frank says, I don't know. And he dropped his head down just so. Then he raised his head and says, Newt, go with him and stay with him and help him find them. And I went up there with Mr. Gant and found them in the shipping room. 2 pair.
1 pair.
2 pair.
1 pair?
2 pair.
2 pair.
The tan and the black ones.
Already.
Lies.
He's a liar. Already. His character is in question because he's a liar. He said he saw one of the boys sweep them up and throw them away. He said he saw that.
The reason why he did not want him to come in and look for them. So he was trying to create excuses, because that's what somebody does who has a guilty conscience. He noticed he was nervous. He said, oh, go out for an hour and a half, enjoy yourself. This is the security guard.
Yep.
Why wouldn't you say, no, you know what? Hey, listen, I tell you what, you come do some rounds, patrol around, make sure everything's safe. That's what you say to the security guard. But if you need to cover something up, just go out, just go out, do your thing, don't worry about it. Then all of a sudden, the dude just happens to show up looking for his shoes. Because back then, it's not like you can go to Walmart for $6 and buy some shoes. Shoes was important. Yep. They used to take shoes back in the day and get them resold. Yep. Like in the military, your boots, after you phase the boot camp, they go and they resole your boots, because they can't afford to get everybody new boots. Shoes were very valuable. She's like, what are you talking about? Let me look for my shoes. Lies. And as we go on and we continue, it shows that this guy, Leo Frank, who is the ADL, was formed because they said he was unjustly accused and convicted. That's a lie. They did not look at this. They did not, and they try to get us to just try to glaze over it. Now, when you can go and look at the archives like Officer Matthew is doing and bring it out, you can see for yourself and recreate the trial and prove that this guy is a damn convicted murderer and rapist of a child. Yep. And this is how the ADL was formed, and you want to believe the anti-defamation league when he tries to blame, as you're going to bring out, 2 black men in 1913. You want to know why? He said, man, they ain't going to listen to these niggas. Yep. These guys? And he was a powerful Jewish guy. By the way, he was the head of a debate team in college. He was the Atlanta chapter of a local lodge. He was very prominent. He had a lot of power and position and entitlement, this guy did. These brothers are janitors. They just trying to survive. In 1913, being black in America. This dude is the ADL, the origin of the ADL is based upon lies and deception. And there's the first lie that was proven in a court of law that he lied. That's a sworn statement. Go ahead, Osman.
Yep.
Mr. Frank phoned me that night about an hour after he left. It was some time after 7 o'clock. He says, how is everything? And I says, everything is all right so far as I know. And he says, goodbye.
So wait a minute. Okay. The guy's a security guard. He tried to clock in early. You didn't let him. His normal time was 5 o'clock. You said 6. Okay. So once he gets there, somebody tries to come get something. You don't want them to go get it, so you lie. But they go get it anyway, and they found their 2 pairs of shoes. Then after you leave, an hour or so after you calling to see if everything is okay, why? Is everything okay? Yeah, as far as I know. All right, goodbye. What? What does that tell you? He's checking on something. He's trying to see, did you find anything? Did anything happen? Was there any sort of movement? Like, no. I mean, I'm here every day. I mean, it's the same old pencil factory as it always is. Read on.
No, he did not ask about Gant. Yes, that is the first time he ever phoned to me on Saturday night.
The very first time that he ever did. Why are you acting so out of character? I come to work, the doors are locked. The doors are never locked. You come busting out your office, you never do that. You tell me to not clock in at 4, but to come back an hour and a half later, and for me to go have a good time and come back an hour and a half later. Then when I do come back and try to clock in at the correct time, you say don't do it. You clocked in for me. Then after you clocked in for me, you lied to another white man that I saw. And then after that, you call an hour and some change later to check on me when you've never done that before? Why are you acting so strange,
Hey,
Mr.
and
Frank?
think about that. Well, he lied, right? He lied in front of the white dude and the night watchman. So when he goes upstairs and they find his shoes, now the brother's like, yo, this cracker lying right now to me. And what he's thinking in his mind, yo, this dude about to set my ass up. This is what I'll be thinking. So y'all got to see this. These are court records.
Real quick. It said the night watch. The dude had the job for 3 weeks.
Right.
Why you didn't call and check on me the first week to see if I got it together? The
Right.
second week to see if I'm screwing up. You called week 3. I just started the job, so it's a lot of stuff I don't know. Why you didn't call me to kind of follow up? Hey man, I know you just started, Mr. Watch, but do you need anything? How's everything going? You didn't call first or second week.
Nope.
Right.
I just want the fact that Newton Lee's testimony is so important because he shows how out of place everything was at that time. Everything was out of place. Remember, he was working there 3 weeks.
Hey, let's be mindful. I mean, I have to set the stage real quick. The jury that found Leo Frank to be guilty of murder and rape was 12 white men. If there was any evidence that either black men they would have hung them quick. This ain't 2013. This is 1913. For them to, in the Deep South, to literally say and prove that both black men had nothing to do with it, that shows you how much of a slam dunk case this is. And what I'm saying is that Alan Greensplat, whatever the hell his name is, can go on one of the largest black shows that sold throughout millions of listeners on the Breakfast Club and lie openly, and Negroes believe that crap. This, I'm telling you, the dangerous, and the ADL, the same spirit, because remember, this guy, Leo Frank, was a member of the Bureau Birthright. That's who formed the ADL. He was the president, the chapter of the local Atlanta chapter. So they have an inception of lies, and the same lying spirit is on Jonathan Greensplat as it was on Leo Frank. They have the same spirit. It's the same organization. Okay, carry on, Officer Matt.
No problem. Next one.
There is a light on the street floor just after you get in the entrance to the building. The light is right up here where the partitioner comes across. Mr. Frank told me when I first went there, keep the light burning bright so the officers can see it when they pass by. It wasn't burning that day at all.
I wonder why. Why is everything so different today? Next page. Why is everything so different today? I'm as a security man, I would be concerned. I would really be concerned. Like, what was going on? Go ahead.
I lit it at 6 o'clock myself. On Saturdays, I always lit it, but weekdays, it would always be lit when I got there. On Saturdays, I always got there at 5 o'clock. This Saturday, he got me there an hour earlier and let me off later. There is a light in the basement down there at the foot of the ladder. He told me keep that burning all the time. It had two little chains to it to turn on and turn off the gas. When I got there on making my rounds at 7 p.m. on the 26th of April, it was burning just as low as you could turn it, like a lightning bug.
So, you know, this is a black man. You got to compare it to something. So watch what happens next on his daily rounds or on this particular Saturday when everything was different. Go ahead.
I left it Saturday morning burning bright. I made my rounds regularly every half hour Saturday night. I punched out the hour and punched on the half, and I made all my punches. The elevator doors on the street floor and office floor were closed when I got there on Saturday. They were fastened down just like we fastened them down every other night. When 3 o'clock came, I went down the basement, and when I went down and got ready to come back, I discovered the body there.
So when he made his rounds that day, that Saturday, you know, the same Saturday where Leo Frank was acting all weird and started calling right after his shift started to see if everything was all right, when the light wasn't on that was supposed to be on, when the doors were locked that wasn't supposed to be locked, when he lied to a white man in front of his face. Oh, well, now he finds a body? Read.
I went down to the toilet, and when I got through, I looked up. I looked at the dustbin back to the door to see how the door was, and it being dark, I picked up my lantern and went there, and I saw something laying there, which I thought some of the boys had put there to scare me. Then I walked a little piece towards it, and I seen what it was, and I got out of there.
You want to know why? Because he was a black man in 1913 that just walked across a dead body. Soon as he saw it, he didn't even walk up to it. He saw legs and he saw a body. He didn't see a face. He didn't see anything like that. He saw legs and he saw a body and immediately ran out of there. And let's see what happened.
I got up the ladder and called up police station.
So as soon as he saw the body, he called the police.
One of the policemen read the note that they found.
Now listen. One of the policemen read the note that they found. There was a note found down there with the body. Now remember, he was told to come in at 4. Nah, don't come in at 4. Go have some fun. You're acting weird. The doors are locked. You're busting out your office. I can't come in. You're lying to this white man over here. There's a 2-hour space where you could have done anything, and I didn't know about it. Then you called me up later to see if anything happened at the job, which you've never done before. You're acting all kinds of weird. You call immediately, but then when I call you, you don't answer. This is 1913. Phones are loud. You're waking up in the middle of the night, you hear that damn phone go off. Go ahead.
They read these words. The tall, black, slim Negro did this. He will try to lay it on the night. And when they got the word night, I said, they must be trying to put it off on me.
See how smart this brother was?
Sharp, boy.
See how smart this brother was? This brother said, night. I'm the night watchman. Mm-hmm. They're going to try to pin this off on me. Go ahead.
I didn't say, boss, that's me.
Now, when we take a statement, we're going to the court records of the state of Georgia, which you can go look at yourself, and you can clearly see why 12 white men in the Deep South in 1913 let 2 black men off the hook.